Hello, everyone. It's great to be here with you guys. It's great to be in fellowship. I hope everyone is safe. I hope your families are safe. I hope you're enjoying this time. And we'll just get right to the message. The title of my message today is The Joy of the Lord. Now, I'll be referencing two Bible verses, Philippians 4:4 and James 1:2. So, Philippians 4:4, James 1:2. I want to start by defining the word joy. And the way the word joy is defined by in the dictionary is a feeling of great pleasure and happiness. To be happy. Follow up to define the word rejoice. Feeling or showing great joy or delight or pleasure. Feel or show great joy or delight. Now, we have this notion, and I'm going to be honest with you, I had it at one point too, that joy only comes when good things happen. For example, birthdays, vacations, graduations, holidays, etc. Or when something goes our way. Something simple as it going our way. Now, we live in a world where we are taught that it's either our way or the highway. We are taught that we make our own choices. We are taught that we decide our future. Now, what does that have to do with joy? Well, it's really simple. And what I want you guys to understand is, yes, joy is defined as a feeling of great pleasure and happiness. But joy is defined in a dictionary that was written by man. Now, you're going to tell me, but the Bible was written by man. Yes, but the Bible was written by men who were led by God. The dictionary was just written by man. The dictionary has no direction from God. It is just to define words, to give words definitions and meanings. Where am I going? How can something be written, be defined, if it is not its true definition from God? In order to understand what joy is and what the joy of the Lord is, you have to understand the definition in the Bible. You have to know how God defines joy. Not how man defines it, but how God defines joy. Now, in Philippians, the book of Philippians was written by Paul. And Paul was writing a letter to the church. Now, when Paul wrote this letter, he wasn't at his desk at work. He wasn't at a pool. He wasn't sitting on his bed on a Sunday morning drinking his coffee. He wasn't at the beach. He wasn't in some park at a picnic. Paul was in jail. Paul was in the dirtiest, filthiest, scariest, darkest place. And if we think about jail back then, you understand where I'm going. It's not like jail today. So he's writing to the church from jail. Let's go to Philippians 4:4. And I'll be reading from the New King James Version and the New Living Translation. I'll be reading from two different translations. In the New King James Version, it says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice." In the New Living Translation, it says, "Always be full of joy in the Lord. I say it again, rejoice." I personally like the New Living Translation because it says, "Always be full of joy." Not 9 to 5, not sometimes be full of joy. No, it says, "Always be full of joy." Not only that, but it says, "Rejoice." Now, is a prefix in words. Is a prefix for again and again and again and again and again. So in this Bible verse, Paul is telling us always be full of joy. Always be full of joy again and again and again and again and again. So it's continuous. It doesn't stop. It doesn't say always be full of joy until next week. It does not stop. It's continuous. What is this trying to tell us? That you need to remain joyful in every situation. We are living in crucial times right now where there are rumors of wars, children going against their parents and vice versa, political uprising, you name it, riots, protests, plagues, disease, sickness, death. You name it, we're going through it. And those are just signs that the coming of Jesus Christ is getting closer. And at one point in my life, I used to hear that and I used to get afraid. And my stomach used to turn and I would start sweating. I would get nauseous when I would hear people say, Jesus is coming soon, Jesus is coming soon. But I've learned to understand that it's not fear. It's not something that we need to fear. It's something that we need to be full of joy with. Because though the world may see chaos, what we see is our redemption. What we see is we're going home sooner rather than later. So in this verse, Paul is telling us always be full of joy. When you're full of joy, when you're full of that joy of God, that means that you have to be joyful during mourning. And I don't mean mourning like AM. I mean mourning when you're mourning someone who passes. You need to remain joyful when something bad happens. You need to remain joyful when something good happens. Always, always, never stop being joyful. And if you do, rejoice. Go at it again and again and again and again. Because that way we can lift our hands up high and know that our God is an unshakable God. Nothing shakes our God. Nothing. Nothing shakes him. So if he's not shaken by what's going on, why are you? If he is remaining full of joy because his son is coming to take his church home, why aren't you? Always be full of joy. Now, let's go to James 1:2. And again, I'll be doing like what I did with Philippians. I'm going to be reading from the New King James Version and NLT. So I'll start with New Kings. James 1:2 is, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. The New Living Translation says, dear brothers and sisters, when trouble comes your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. In my opinion, I like the New King James Version better, because it says, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. James is telling us that when trials and trouble comes, not if it comes, when it comes, we need to remain joyful. He's telling us right there when it comes, because it's going to come. No one said this was going to be easy. No one said that this was going to be a walk in the park. It wasn't a walk in the park for the woman who bled for 12 years. It wasn't a walk in the park, for Jesus when he had to withstand everything that he withstood before getting crucified on that cross. It wasn't easy. No one said this was going to be easy. But what they're telling us is remain joyful, because God is with you. God won't leave you. God won't forsake you. Remain joyful. Count it all joy. The minute you do that, you lift your hands up high, that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. Count it all joy. It doesn't matter what trial you go through. Now, I'm not knocking how some people may go through something that hurts. I'm not knocking it, because it's a process. But what I'm telling you is when you go through that process, seek God. Remain in him, because it's going to be so much easier. So much easier to go through that process. We have two scriptures. One from James and one from Paul. James is telling us that when trials come, Paul is in a trial. James is telling us when it comes, Paul is telling us, I'm in jail, but I'm here writing to you to always remain joyful. It may not have been easy. Definitely wasn't easy for Paul. to be in jail. But we have two points of view here. One where he's warning you, he's telling you they're going to come. But when they come, remain joyful. And Paul is telling us, I'm in jail, but continue to remain joyful. Continue to seek God. So, what I want to tell you today, I'm not in the Bible. I haven't written a book. But I, Stephanie, today, am telling you to be full of joy. Remain joyful. Rejoice again and again and again and again and again. Don't stop. Don't stop seeking God. Don't stop reading His Word. Don't stop praising and worshiping, because when you praise and you worship, something releases in the atmosphere. When you learn how to seek God, you learn the true definition of joy. You learn that it doesn't matter what trial, it doesn't matter what trouble comes against you. You will pass it. You will get to it. It doesn't matter what we see. It doesn't matter how far away that highway leads us to. What matters is that you have to remain joyful and know that God is with you. Know that God is by your side. Know that nothing can come against you. Know that nothing can shake you. So long as you remain in His presence, nothing can shake you. So long as you know that your family is taken care of, that you are taken care of, you can't shake it. Shake the fear and, take hold of the joy. Remain joyful. Always be joyful. Learn the true definition. I'm not saying that we shouldn't read dictionaries and learn, but you know what? There's another dictionary that we have, and it's the Bible. And we can learn how to discern and how to define our own emotions. Because the definition of the Bible is when good things happen. God's definition is when trials and tribulations come, remain joyful, for I am with you. God is with you. God is with you, and He'll never leave you. He'll never leave your side. He'll take care of you. So remember, always be joyful in God. I bless you guys. I love you guys. I bless my pastors. Pastor Freddie, thank you for this opportunity to share this word with you. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, the Bible verses for today were Philippians 4:4 and James 1:2. I hope it ministered to you. And, there's nothing that God can't do for us. There's nothing that He can't shake. We serve an unshakable God. We serve a perfect God. I'm not saying we're perfect, because we aren't perfect people worshiping a perfect God. But always remember, be joyful. Learn to be joyful in the midst of that storm. Learn to dance in the rain. Learn to fall to your knees when you feel like you can't anymore. Learn to laugh. Learn to laugh. Not laugh in the sense of it's funny. Laugh in the midst of that pain. Laugh in the midst of that hurt. Because when you do, nothing can shake you. So I thank you all. I hope you have a great week. I bless you guys. I bless my family. And thank you so much. And I hope you have a great week.